Hello guys, I am filming this intro today, the same day it's being posted, because the content you're about to see is from last week, and I wanted to first give a trigger warning that it is a more sad video. It's about pet loss. I made the decision to have Blue put down, and so the vet came out, and I was just kind of really going down memory lane and just kind of having a good conversation that I think was really therapeutic for me, and I think it's really great for you guys too, because obviously with me sharing my animals with the world, I understand that you guys love them from afar and you're able to grow a relationship through a phone. And so I think it's good for you guys to see. I did want to say too that I'm going to post 2 clips, and I'm sorry they're going to be the other way because I took them vertical because I was filming in the moment. It's of when I brought Snow over to have dinner with her mom the night before. I think that's a really sweet moment that I would love to share with you guys. And then even though I'm very emotional in that part, I do talk about how sweet Iris was, even though she hadn't seen Blue. It's just like, I talk about it, and so I don't want to touch on a bunch here, but like animals just know, and they don't view death the same way we do. I really don't think they do. They just understand that it's a closed chapter and life goes on. And I think that is kind of how I am able to help cope, because witnessing Snow and Blue having their moment and then being like, all right, bye, is like, how do you accept that so quick? That's your mom. And even Iris being like, yep, like it's okay. So I wanted to just kind of give you an intro first so that if you're not in the place to deal with that kind of video, totally valid, will not be offended if you skip this one. And I also just wanted to give a preface because the next 2 clips are going to be those. And then I do touch on them when I'm talking, but I just wanted to put them first because they happen first, and I think it's very sweet. So thank you so much. I'm doing okay. I took time before sharing, and it was really good for my mental health. So here's that video.
Do not make me cry. I came to feed the littles, and this is the day that before I have to put Blue down. And Iris usually goes with everybody else, and they all go right to the food. And when I walked back over, Iris kept following me, and I was like, I don't have any more feet, I don't have any more feet. And she came up, and she threw her hip on me, and she just let me kiss her, and then she went back to eating. And I just know that she knows. And we don't deserve animals, we don't deserve cows. They just know these things, and they're just so sweet.
Good morning, guys. Not a very fun video today. It's kind of gonna be sad, so I just want to give a trigger warning. I have the vet coming on their way to put Miss Blue Girl down because it's time. It's hard. It's one of the hard decisions you make as an animal owner. I cried all day yesterday. I was a hot mess. But I just kind of want to talk about Blue Girl and her life, and I want to kind of talk about, just some fun stories that I have with her, but then also talking about cattle and how they process things, because I honestly think that's why I am so able to process things. I may humanize my animals too much entirely, but I don't know. I just get vibes. I might see, I'll take the title Crazy Cow Lady, but let's talk about Miss Blue Girl and her lovely adventure here on the farm. So Blue was born in March of 2021, and her poor mama was a small girl. And when she came out, she got hip locked, which basically just means her mom was able to push her out up until here. And then mom was like, I'm tired. And we didn't have a come along, which is basically just something to help pull the calf out. It applies pressure all around, so you don't worry about tearing mama or hurting baby. And so when we were freaking out, because we're like, oh my God, we can't get this baby out, my dad was like, all right, I'll call the neighbors. They probably have one, and I'll see if I can borrow it. So he called them. They were like, yeah, of course, like it's up in the barn, go get it. So while we were waiting, Miss Blue Girl had like come awake. And so her poor mama, because, her 2/3 of her was out ready to freaking rumble. And so she's kicking around and everything. And her poor mama. And so her mom was one of my brother's cows that he sold. So we do not have her anymore. But we were like nervous, and we didn't know what was going to happen, but my dad got back with the come along, got Blue out, and mama was exhausted. Mama sat like a dog, actually, because her back end was sore. And I wanted her to be able to rest. So we were able to get some of her colostrum. That's like one of the only times I've ever milked a cow, because my cows are beef cows. And I got the milk out for Blue, and I gave it to her. And then I didn't want her to be alone in the barn because her mom was kind of checked out for the night. So I laid with her. I remember I had a purple zip-up Nike jacket, and I took it off and I put it around me and Blue, and we were cuddling, like spooning in the barn. And I knew I wanted to show her that year, and I did. I showed her. I was a sophomore, I believe, in high school. I'm almost positive. And we did really well. I think we got second in my class. But she was the smallest heifer I ever showed. At my fair, she was 445 pounds, and she's the only heifer that ever dragged me, fun fact. I've never been dragged, but I got a little bit dragged by her, and she's the only calf I ever like lost control of, but it was my own fault. So at home, I used to walk her on our pavement, and she always had a lot of energy and a lot of spark. And so I would like trot with her, I guess, like as if like horse terms, and like kind of like jog. And it was always fun. She really liked it. And then when I got like, when I needed to stop, I could just stop really quick because on pavement, I had more traction than her. So it was totally fine. Well, we get to fair, and I was walking her in like this little exercise arena because she needed to get her energy out. And it had rained a lot, so it was super muddy. So I didn't think about that because I was 15. So I'm like jogging with her like I usually do, and just like, haha, this is so fun. And then she started doing it, and I realized quickly I don't have traction, she does, because it's muddy. And she caught me perfect mid-stride, and she geared up and took off because she was excited to run, and I got shit whipped. Luckily, a lot of cattle people saw what happened. They grabbed her quick, and it wasn't an issue, but it was so funny because she was the smallest heifer I ever showed, and she freaking gave me a run for my money. Also that year, she's the only cow that's ever tried to mount me. This is a funny story too. Don't look at me like that. You did. So cattle, when they go into heat, in their heat cycles, they will mount each other. I think it's to kind of show the bull like, hey, this one's ready. And so she had come into a heat cycle on during fair time, and I had her tied up with her head higher up because I was going to have to like groom her and stuff and get her ready for a show that day. And so I'm just moving out of the way so she can adjust how she wants to. I think she might be getting a drink. And so, I had her tied up, and I had another heifer with her, so I wanted to go around them, and instead of going all the way around the back end, I was like, you know what, I'll just cheat, and I'll swing around, like, go under her chest. So, like, I go under her, like, neck, and I felt something on my shoulders, and when I turn around, cow chest. Just all cow chest in my face. She had literally decided to get on my flip. Like, she tried to mount me, okay? She had her two hooves over my shoulders, and I don't know how. I don't know if it was active adrenaline or what, but I just was able to, like, swoop on out of there. But my dad thought that was the funniest thing. So then when I showed her that winter at shows, my dad would be walking her with this hand, and then he would just, like, put his arm under it, because then she would try to mount. It was so funny. It was so freaking funny. But then she came home after her show season, and she was just one of the girls out in the field, like a lot of them, and I will never forget the night that she had snow. Oh my God. It was such a crazy night. For those of you who don't know, that same day my grandma went into the hospital, and my grandma was like my best friend, okay? Like my best friend on this planet. It was 2015. I was in college. I was in one of my like labs, and my sister texted me and was like, Grandma had a stroke. It's not good. And so I literally just white as a ghost, which I'm already white, but you know what I mean? I showed the text to my officer, or like my professor, and he was like, go call your sister. And so I called her, and she's like, it's not good, Lacey. And so I busted a move out of there, came home, went to the hospital with my parents, and my grandma was in the ICU. She was in a coma, and it was a terrible, terrible day. So we get home at like 12:30 at night. We're exhausted, and we're like getting ready to go in the house to go to bed. But then I look at Dad. I'm like, oh my God, Blue's in the barn, because we had brought her in, because Blue's always been one of our smaller girls, and she was getting ready to calve soon. So I was like, oh my gosh, like we need to go check on her. So we got in the barn, devastated, heartbroken, and in there is just this gorgeous all white calf, and Blue's just like looking at us like, look what I did. And it was just insane because it was just like a sign from something, like everything's gonna be okay. Look at this little angel I sent you. And since then, Snow has just been so special. But Blue's always been a really great mom. Like, she has always just been a phenomenal mom. Like, even with not her own, but like babies that aren't hers, like she's just always been such a great mother to other babies and very nurturing. Like, that's just always been the way she is. And last year, you guys all know, we got to Salt, or maybe you don't know, but my friend Blaine had a little preemie, and I mean, this is the tiniest baby calf I've ever seen. I know Longhorns are smaller than shorthorn cows like I have, but oh my goodness, smallest baby calf I've ever seen. And Blue had a stillborn last year. It was just born, not alive. Sometimes it happens, unfortunately. That's just the way things go when it comes to livestock. It was an all-white calf. I didn't share with a lot of the internet, or no, did I in the video? I can't remember, but it was an all-white bull calf, and it could be genetic for sure, but it was really hard, and cattle mourn their baby's death. So we brought Blue in because she was kind of getting sore with that injury that she had already overcome like a fucking boss. And then we go to just leave her in the barn, let her heal, let her rest, let the milk, you know, go down, because it will go down. And then my friend Blaine's like, I have this little baby. And I was like, oh my God, well, if you want me to come take care of it, I can. Because she was like 8.5, 9 months pregnant at the time. And so I knew it'd be a lot for her. And she was like, well, do you think Blue would work? And I was like, I don't know. Because like, I've gotten mamas to take other babies before, but I wasn't sure if I could get her to take her because it had been like a whole day. But no, without question, as soon as I put that little Iris in there, Snow went, or not Snow, as soon as I put little Iris in there, Blue went right up to her and was like, you're my baby now. Like, I'll take care of you. Don't worry. And it was the sweetest fucking thing ever. Like, I was bawling my eyes out like a baby. It's tough. It is tough, but that's what I like to think about. I like to think about the great stories I get to have with these cows. Yesterday, it was hard. I cried a lot, but I also was very just like, I don't know, like, let me explain it to you. And like I said, I am fully fine with being just a crazy cow lady, but like I said, I got Snow with a halter and I brought her in and I put her in here so that she could have dinner with Blue, and they shared dinner, and then I went and fed everybody else, and I was visibly upset because Blue and Snow were having a very cute dinner. Made me emotional because I just am. Because Blue cannot walk well enough, and I didn't want her last days to be in pain, so I didn't let her go say goodbye to everybody, but I at least wanted to have somebody come here. And Snow is very easy on the halter, so I brought her over. So I go feed everybody else, and when I went to go feed the teenagers in the back, Iris has been, like, if you follow me on TikTok or Instagram, you can see that Iris has been going through her teenage phase, is what I call it. Oswald did the same thing when they're super attached. They'll go through these phases where they're like, I don't want your love and affection, Mom. And it's just whatever. I just let them, you know, if they want to get love and affection, I'm down. If they don't want me to, hell yeah, girl, I'm also down. So I was out there and I fed them, and I just figured Iris would eat like normal. She's a very hungry girl. They always go after the feed piles. And I was upset, but I wasn't crying at the moment. And I shit you not, Iris just comes up to me and is just loving on me. And like, I was leaned down and she touched foreheads with me and she gave me a little kiss. And I started bawling because I was just like, you freaking know. And then she went back to eating, but then I walked over to the gate to get ready to leave, and she came over, and I shit you not, she just leaned her body on me, like almost like a hug. And I was just like, they know, and they just accept it, so, and they just move on. Like, it's crazy. Snow and Blue, they had a very special moment, but then Snow was like, all right, and she went on. Like, literally, they were in here, and I have a video of it. I might insert it for you guys because it is a very special moment, but it is the other way, so sorry about that. But literally, Blue and Snow, like, touched through the fence, like a little nose kiss. And then Snow leaned like this, and Blue, like, kissed her forehead. And then Snow was done, and I was a mess. but it's just like they accept it and are able to move on. Like I remember one cow you guys never got the luxury of meeting because she passed actually like the same day Oswald was born. She was just an older gal, but she was one of our faves. She was just great. Her name was Brownie. And she was old. She died of old age. She was like 18 or 19, I believe. She, like when she was laying down, and you could tell it was her time, like you just knew. But when she was laying down, like all the cows came up and they did like a little touch or something, like a sniff or a touch, but then they went on. Like they were like, okay, well, they have like, you know, things to do. And I just feel like animals just realize that it is a part of life. It's a cycle. It happens and it's inevitable. And they just accept it. And it's so freaking wild. But I think watching that so many times is what has like brought me to be like just more accepting of it and be able to move on. And it's not that I'm not devastated, but it's also a lot to do with the fact that I've got all these other animals to take care of. So this is going to be a very sad moment and I'm very hurt, but I got to make sure I take care of the rest of my cows too. Well, that sucked. Yeah, that was hard. That was very, very hard. It never gets easier. But I do feel very, very strongly that that was the right choice. I know it was, because I know that Blue was not happy. She was not thriving. She was not living her best life. And I had to make that decision. And they suck. Those decisions suck to make. But I'm very fortunate to have a great vet that came out and was able to do that for me and just was very nice with it. Let her be sedated first so that she was very comfortable and very happy. And she will be buried on the farm like anybody who passes. And it was just her time. I think that animals tell us when they're done, and Blue told me she was done. So I made that decision for her and I stand by that decision. I do need to work on not coping with humor because I had to bite my tongue when they were getting ready to leave, because even though I was crying, I almost said, thank you for coming and killing my cow. Because the vet tech who came with him was so incredibly nice, so sweet, and she felt awful. And like, was like, she said, like, I wish we could have came out on better circumstances or something. Very kind thing to say. And I almost said, it's okay, I paid you to kill my cow. I almost said that. Like, I'm just an idiot and I just cope differently. I don't know. I walked in the barn and the cows were mooing at me because I fed Blue this morning to give her a nice little breakfast. And, because feed makes them so happy. And the girls started bitching at me and I said, can we all chill? There's been a death in the family. And I'm like, if anyone heard the things that I said, but yeah, I mean, it's part of life. It's the worst part. It sucks balls, but I had to make that decision. And I like to document these parts because I do, like I've said before, I do document a lot of really cute moments, a lot of very sweet moments, and a lot of very happy moments. And I never want to sell you a false reality of what having animals are, because livestock are still difficult. It's still incredibly hard. And there's a lot of aspects that go into it that suck. So I just want to always be open and transparent, even if it means hot girl crying online for people over my cow. But I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. Blue lived a great life. She really did. And I know that she was a very happy cow, but she was ready to go. So I had to make that decision for her. So yeah, I will see you guys. I'm going to keep my Blue plushie in my truck. It's been in there anyway, but it's going to stay in there. That's a staple. Bye, guys.